welcome to another episode of Reese's Random Reviews. I am Reese. I'm about to give you a random review. I'm sitting here in my student accommodation. I've just done some uni work, and now that I've done some of it, I felt like doing another YouTube video because I haven't done one in just about a week. So I thought I'd be doing a very interesting episode of Reese's Random Reviews today, talking about films that people hate that I particularly enjoyed. So this video is one of those, based on your own opinion sort of films, and I thought it'd be nice to, to explain why I love these films even though people hate them. So if you're going to comment on this video or say stuff and say, I don't like that movie because it was crap, and if you didn't like it, then maybe it's best you don't watch this film. Because if you're just going to comment and say loads of shit like that, then you're just wasting your time, because I'm just going to ignore them anyway. So you can just base it on your own opinion. But if you people did enjoy these films that I'm particularly saying, then good for you, but this is nothing to do with, what film was better or anything like that. I'm just literally picking out 10 films that I particularly enjoyed that people hated. The reason I'm doing 10 is because I didn't want to do 5 or, a really random number. I like to do 10 because also it makes the video a little bit longer and more enjoyable, and, plus I can talk about why, I love these films, but then I can also explain the flaws of what I don't like about these films, which is understandable. So let's just get straight down to it, and let's talk about the top 10. Even though this isn't a countdown, I have literally just picked a random selection of 10 films that I enjoyed that people hate, and I'm just going to talk about what I love about them more, but then also I'll talk about their flaws. So remember, this isn't a countdown of what's best or what's popular or anything. I've just picked out a random selection, okay? So there's no countdown. It's just literally picked them out of a hat and said, that's the ones I'm doing. Right, so let's do number 10 of films that I've enjoyed that people hate. Avatar. Yep, people now don't like this movie, but I still do. Is that a problem? Well, apparently it is, because everyone who's now seen this film, they don't like it. They said it's boring, they said it lacks story, they say it's got wonderful effects, but it's just a load of rubbish. And most people as well call it a futuristic Titanic, and it's just literally James Cameron doing Titanic all over again. Okay? Right, that's what people say. This is what I think that I particularly enjoy about the film. I loved Avatar for many reasons. To me, yes, the special effects are wonderful, but it's kind of a very unique science fiction film, okay? It was something that, even though it was wonderful in 3D, wonderful to take a look at, it did have something more special than what other films tend to lack, which is a unique part of how they gain the plot, how it starts off in all these segments. So we have like Jake, who starts off being a normal character, human being. He then turns into an avatar. He then goes out into the jungle. He then falls in love, and he then has to choose between the human side or the avatar side. And it's literally just a full of emotion situation. Now, mostly this story, of course, does feel very plagiarised between like films like Pocahontas and Fern Gully as well, Last Rainforest. But to be honest, it's kind of like a futuristic version of that, and also how James Cameron sort of handled the film, in my perspective, I actually really enjoyed. Because when I first saw this film, I instantly fell in love with how the whole cinematography and how it looked, and the story as well. Even though, yes, the story did lack originality, and we have seen it all before, a character falls in love with someone he shouldn't be, that is what the flaw is to me as well. But I love it because it's one of those stories that you do have to watch to see what happens, and it is quite enjoyable. Yes, the story as well is incredibly long. The film is way too long, I understand that. But to be honest, I don't really have a problem with its length. Many people do, but that's because if you don't like the characters or you don't like the film, and you're sitting there in the cinema and you're going, oh, this is long, that's because you're not caring about the characters. I did. I cared about many of the characters in this film, and to be honest, I actually just enjoyed exactly what was on there. So I'm sorry to say that Avatar, I did sadly enjoy. People don't like that film anymore. That's completely fine. But yeah, I enjoyed it. So that's one of the first films that I enjoyed that people don't like. Right, let's pick number 9 for what my next film is. Let's take a look. People are literally gonna spam me with comments against this one. Cars 2. Everyone hates this sequel. But Why do they? That's the question. It's so different from the first film. Is that the problem? You know? Because it starts off with Lightning McQueen, the racer, and then all of a sudden it does Cars 2, and it goes into a completely different story. Is that really a problem? Michael Caine was great in it, you know, voicing Finn McMissile. And I kind of like the story and the differences between Cars 2. Plus, it's quite dark, you know what I mean? It's quite a dark story. People didn't like this film, did they? I know why. Okay, I think I understand why. When I was talking and researching about this film, people said they hated Cars 2 because Mita is the most annoying character in the whole film. And that's completely understandable. Mita, I understand. Voiced by Larry the Cable Guy. Hey, God, dumb. Hey, right, dumb. Oh, that's funny right there. I understand that. An hour and a half of that, it will drive you nuts. It sounds like a chalkboard scraping through the thing. And the jokes are very flat. Those are its flaws. I understand that. But plot, animation, and voice work are incredibly praised for me, because when I was watching Cars 2 in the cinema, I actually really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the animation, I enjoyed how it looked, I enjoyed that it was completely different from the first film, I loved that it took it into a completely different direction. You know, John Lasseter directed it, and, you know, he's such a great guy. I mean, alright, yeah, he might not be making films as great as he used to, but it was good that he sort of took into a different direction. The rule for Pixar is they don't make a sequel unless it's better than the first film. Obviously, John Lasseter took a gamble with this film. It did pay off. I mean, the film did make loads of money. Just, it sadly broke the tradition of Pixar's every critically acclaimed film, which is true. But the thing is, people are getting a little bit angry with Pixar nowadays because they're slowly going a little bit sequel mad now. They're doing a Cars 3, which I must admit, I'm not really looking forward to that, because if everyone didn't love Cars 2, then why are they making a Cars 3? That's the real question. And also, because it broke its tradition, why? But maybe Cars 2 maybe gained a bit more of a cult following, I don't know. But to this day, many people say that they don't like Cars 2. But I love it because it was different, you know? I love differences, I love uniqueness in a film. And that's what I loved about Cars 2. It was unique, it was different, and it was very interesting, and it was very watchable. And to be honest, there were some funny moments, you know, but it just wasn't incredibly funny or as clever as the first film, which is definitely understandable. But also as well, you know, the other flaws as well is that many people said that the plot was a little bit confusing. In many cases it was, but it wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad, you know. I mean, it wasn't as terrible as everyone was making out, but apparently people don't like this film. But I thoroughly enjoyed it, so there you go. So I'm sorry, guys. Okay, let's see what the next film is that I loved that people didn't like. London Boulevard. This is a very different sort of movie. This is not a very well-known film, but it stars Colin Farrell, Keira Knightley and Ray Winstone. And to be honest, I didn't see a thing wrong with this movie. Colin Farrell plays a man who, you know, I think he was a drug dealer or a gangster or something, and he then gets out of prison, and he has to be a bodyguard for an actress. And the actress is played by Keira Knightley, and they both fall in love. But then Colin Farrell has to go and work for Ray Winstone, who's the top gangster. Ray Winstone in this film is just typical Ray Winstone. Pure gangster, pure scary. Colin Farrell, pure fantastic protagonist with his perfect Irish accent. And Keira Knightley just as gorgeous as ever. I mean, this film is very good. I've watched it, I've seen it like 3 times, and I've loved it ever since I've watched it. I didn't really see what the problem was with this film. I mean, it might have lacked a bit of plot maybe. Maybe the acting wasn't very good. I don't know. I think everything was alright with this film. It was kind of like watching another version of In Bruges, even though In Bruges is so much better than London Boulevard, and I do admit that. But London Boulevard is an enjoyable film. I didn't see a thing wrong with it, and to be honest, I don't know why it got negative reviews. And to be honest, I haven't really gone up to this people and say, hey, what do you hate about London Boulevard? And they've gone, don't know. Because there isn't actually anything wrong with this movie. London Boulevard is a really good film. If you haven't watched it, to be honest, I recommend it. If you don't like it, you don't like it, but I did. It was such a good film. So why people hated it, I don't know. Let's move on to number 7 anyway. I know a lot of people are actually going to definitely spam me for this one. You know, proper arguments on the comments. Spider-Man 3. Yes, I know people don't like this film, but I did enjoy Spider-Man 3. I don't know why, but I just did. Alright, okay. Let me explain the flaws. I'll just tell you what I didn't like about it. Okay, first off, Kirsten Dunst and Tobey Maguire's acting in this film is very annoying. The characters as well, they split up, they get back together, they split up, they get back together. It is a very annoying film, I must admit that. That is the only annoying bit. But apart from that, the fight sequences are great. The story is, you know, I suppose it did take off to a sort of slightly different direction, but it was a little bit too much the same. However, I did love the fact that there were a few twists in this film that we revealed that, you know, Thomas Hayden Church was revealed to actually be involved in, you know, Spider-Man's uncle's death. And Thomas Hayden Church's character as Sandman, he was a great anti-hero. You know, I did love the darkness of this film. I think that's what I enjoyed about this film, was the darkness. You know, I mean, I must admit, yes, it did lack story. Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst didn't really do a good job in this film as much. It was a little bit too... There were some too many little, you know, oh, I'm Spider-Man and I can do what I want moments. It was really annoying. In fact, the name Spider-Man being said over and over again was a little bit annoying. But apart from that, I loved it because there was a lot of twists and I loved the darkness of this film. I think that's why I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it because I think it was definitely better than Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2 I wasn't too fond of. Spider-Man 1 was okay. Spider-Man 2 was half and half. But Spider-Man 3 just had more into it. There was much more of a story and plot than Spider-Man 2. But yeah, Spider-Man 3 did lack a little bit of story, but I still enjoy it. The darkness and the you know, the acting from Thomas Hayden Church and all that, and the action fight sequences, those were the best reasons that I loved Spider-Man 3. Sorry guys. Okay, let's move on to number 6. The Lone Ranger. I know, people hated this film, but I don't care. I loved it. I know it flopped, negative reviews. I don't care. Johnny Depp was awesome as always, you know, as Tonto. It was great, and I love the movie. It had a great story. It had good characters. You know, it was just so action-packed. Plus, the ending with the train chase after 10 minutes was amazing. The only thing I didn't like about this film was Armie Hammer's acting as the Lone Ranger. He was probably the only reason I didn't like this film. His acting was very off-putting, and his character. It was only him that I didn't like in this film. I do like Armie Hammer as an actor, but I do think his acting in the Lone Ranger was a little bit too silly, a little bit too goofy. And for how he became the main protagonist, I have no idea. But yeah, he was the only reason I wasn't too fond of the film. But that's about it. But apart from that, I love the Lone Ranger, so okay, let's move on to the next movie. Clash of the Titans. People did love this film, and some people don't. So this is more of a mixed movie. Critics hated it. Well, they don't, you know, I ignore them, so who cares. But Clash of the Titans, I did love this film. My dad took me to see this film, and he enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. And many people that I went, you know, when they saw in the cinema, you know, the reaction, they enjoyed it. Plus, it grossed so much money. It made almost 500 million at the box office. And the director of this film has done some great films. He did the Incredible Hulk remake, he did Unleashed, he did the 2 first Transporter films. So Clash of the Titans is just another great movie. Plus, Liam Neeson and Ralph Fiennes as Hades, they work so well together. They could be brothers. They did such a great job. You know, you don't diss the acting from Liam Neeson and Ralph Fiennes. They worked so well together as Zeus and Hades. It was perfect. The film was amazing. Clash of the Titans was awesome and epic, and I loved it. Let's move on to the next film. Godzilla, 2014 version. I know why people hated this film. I understand. Because Godzilla was hardly in the movie. Every time I talk about Godzilla, people say they hated it because Godzilla was hardly ever in the film. Every time I say, oh, did you see Godzilla? They went, no, I hated it. Why? They said, where was Godzilla? Where was he? And that's understandable. I was shocked as well when I first saw that giant Muto come out the egg, and I was like, that's not Godzilla. But to be honest, I enjoyed Godzilla because of the suspense of Godzilla. But people hated it because they didn't like the Mutos and there was no Godzilla. But why? It was good. They did an interesting turn. It was a different direction. It was suspenseful. It was more like the excitement of waiting when Godzilla comes. It was worth the wait when Godzilla comes out on screen because he beats up those Mutos and he kills them. I mean, come on, you must think that was great, right? Come on, people! Godzilla was a good movie! Jesus Christ. Alright, we'll move on to the next film. How dare people hate Tim Burton? Or just hate this movie, whatever. Dark Shadows is a great film. It's entertaining, it's hilarious. It's just, it takes a completely different turn, and it's gothic and it's scary and it's funny at the same time. Plus Johnny Depp and Tim Burton, they work so well together. This film is great. This film is perfect. This film shouldn't have flopped. This film was awesome. I enjoyed Dark Shadows. When I was watching it, I laughed my head off. I also enjoy the aspects of the film. It's kind of like a feel-good Tim Burton film. It was kind of like a sort of different comical take on Edward Scissorhands. You know, not all dark and sad and miserable. It was dark and happy and epic. You know, it was good. This film, Dark Shadows, is good. If you haven't seen it, do watch it. Don't listen to what people say, it's rubbish. Well, okay, look, it's their own opinion, I understand, but Dark Shadows is recommended. Just give it a try, please. Just give it a try. Let's go on to the next film. The Lost World, Jurassic Park. Yeah, a lot of people don't like this film, but I do. I like The Lost World. To be honest, I like it better than the first one. I do like it better than the first one. But there's reasons why. There's more of a cast, there's great actors, there's more dinosaurs, there's so much more put into it. The Lost World is Steven Spielberg's one of his best films, I believe. I'm sorry, but it is. There's just so much into it. There are flaws, however, with The Lost World that I will admit. I do think the whole T-Rex going into the city part was very dull. That part was a bit annoying. Plus, I think some of the comical timing is a bit wrong in this film as well. However, Jeff Goldblum's, dialogue is brilliant. Julianne Moore is wonderful as always. Pete Postlethwaite, you can't diss Pete Postlethwaite. He's a great actor. He was great in this film. Arliss Howard playing the second antagonist as well was also brilliant. The cinematography as well was great. And to be honest, I love the story of The Lost World. The Lost World did have a better story. I mean, think about it. Jurassic Park, park fails, man and kids lost in jungle, try and get home. The Lost World, two teams who are against each other have to try and work together to survive on the island. Okay? The second one had more of a plot. That's why I love the second one. Alright, now this is my final film I'm going to talk about. Let's go to number one. Absolutely Anything, the most recent reviewed film that people don't like, but I particularly enjoyed. I love Absolutely Anything. The last ever film starring Robin Williams, the Monty Pythons reunite, and Simon Pegg is hilarious as ever. I compare this with Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, The World's End, and Paul. Because Simon Pegg, this one is on his list of one of his funniest films. It's not definitely as funny as Shaun of the Dead or anything. It is definitely the least funniest. But it is very entertaining. Plus, what I love about it is it's a very low-budget British film. There's not too much into it. But I kind of like that. It's not like Michael Bay with Transformers and goes boom, boom, boom. Let's get a sexy bird in the background. Boom, boom, boom. None of that Michael Bay bullshit. Absolutely Anything is a nicely perfect, wonderful paced comedy film you can just sit back, relax and enjoy. There's very least films where you can just say, let's pop on this movie and just relax and have a chill and watch the film. Look, there's Simon Pegg. There's none of that anymore. This film is that. If you ever get bored on a Saturday night, don't watch X Factor. Just get Absolutely Anything and go, do you know what? Let's put on the DVD. You can just sit back and relax, chill with your girlfriend or your boyfriend or whoever you're going out with or with your family. And sit down, watch Absolutely Anything and just sit back and relax and go, funny dialogue. You know what I mean? The film's good. Absolutely Anything was good. The only flaw I did have with this film, with Absolutely Anything, was that Rob Riggle is basically the same character as he was in 21 and 22 Jump Street, just travelled into Absolutely Anything. He just plays the same character over and over again. And also, Absolutely Anything, the ending was a little bit shite. That's all I have the flaws of it. That's about it. So, those are the films that I've enjoyed that you guys didn't like. I hope that the films I picked that you did enjoy, if you didn't enjoy these films, please don't be nasty and say, oh, I hate that film, Reece, you have a bad movie taste. Look, we all have films that we all love that people hate, okay? So just be respectful and, but I'll tell you what, why don't you tell me, comment below and tell me what films that you love that other people haven't liked, because I'm sure you're always in this situation. Just comment below and let me know, people, and also subscribe, okay? So I'm Reece, I've just given you a random review, and please just let me know what films that you love that people hate.